Then I would like to invite our first speaker from Biokraft AS Norway. Apologies for the pronunciation of foreign, I say foreign names, of course, I mean names which are not English. So it's Terje Hyldmo. Could you just put your hand up, Terje, if you're here? He's online. Oh, but there he is. Thank you. I didn't even look at that great big screen behind me. Terje, welcome. I hope you can hear me okay. You're laughing, so you must be able to hear me okay. I'm going to hand over to you. Thank you very much. We look forward to hearing your presentation. Thank you.
I was laughing because you said my name in a funny way. I have understood that to enter the international stage, I must have another name. So I've just decided that my rock and roll name should be TJ. So you can call me TJ.
TJ, okay, that's great. Very good, thank you.
I'm sorry that I have to participate through a video call. I was on my way to Gdansk, but a private situation occurred and I had to go back to Norway. But I'm then happy that I can participate this way. Then I will just share my presentation. On the screen now, I hope you can see a picture of the biogas production plant we have in Norway.
Yes, we can.
This plant is located in the middle of Norway. In the back side of the picture, you see parts of the storage of timber from a big paper mill plant. But everything which is green and the equipment and the machine buildings close to it is our biogas plant. I was happy that I could contribute in the planning of this project. We started planning this in 2014. Had the final investment decision in January 2016, and we were able to start producing in July 2018. Back then, this was the biggest plant for production of liquefied biogas fuel in the world. I know that there are plants under construction now that is bigger than this. But in the first phase of those new plants' life, they will not produce only biomolecules. They will also produce a mixture of biogas and natural gas. So this is still the biggest plant in the world for production of liquefied biogas. The company Biokraft AS is a Norwegian company. It was founded back in 2009. We started with processing fish waste. I'll be back to the fish waste later. We started then in 2018 and we had a very successful ramp up. So by December, after 5 months, we had reached a production equivalent to 90% of the plant's capacity. And since then, we have been had positive EBITDA. We are also now part of a bigger company which has the name of Scandinavian Biogas Group, a Swedish company which also have plants in Sweden and Korea, listed on the Stockholm Stock Exchange. And this is an old presentation because yesterday the head company, the stock listed company, changed its name to Biokraft International. I don't think the website is changed yet, but from now on, we are part of Biokraft International and are the Norwegian subsidiary. Currently, we are at our plant at Skogn in Norway, producing 150 gigawatt hours of liquefied biogas per year. 150 gigawatt hours, that is equivalent to, if you take this in fuel numbers, it is equivalent to 15 million liters of diesel. This is kind of a very simple picture of the process flow in the plant. You see the blue circles, that is where we have the feedstock. We have various kinds of feedstocks. we do hygienizate it and produce biogas. But in addition to biogas, we also produce fertilizer delivered to the local market. Sorry. We produce also some industry chemicals, which are then green because we are producing them out of the same green organic feedstock, currently delivering this to the paper mill. But we also produce CO2 industrial gas, which is then replacing fossil CO2 from fossil sources, delivering to the brewery industry and so on in Norway. But the feedstock, which is maybe the most crucial element in biogas production, financial advisor says that when you are looking financially on the biogas business, it's down to three critical components. And those three critical components are feedstock, feedstock, and feedstock. So access to feedstock is the most important thing. And at our plant, we have only feedstock from private sources. We don't have sewage sludge, and we don't have municipality organic waste. We only have from private companies and sources. As most biogas plants, we have a lot of feedstock from the agricultural sector, both slaughter waste but also manure. We have industrial waste, first of all from the paper mill, which are our neighbor. But the biggest feedstock source in our plant is the feedstock from Norwegian fisheries. Norwegian has a very big industry in fish farming, mostly salmon, but also some other species. And the sludge and the silage from the fish farming industry is the biggest source of energy in our production. The reason for producing biogas is that we are kind of a green catalyst in a circular economy. We reduce CO2 emissions in the upstream channel. The greenhouse gas emissions from all our suppliers is reduced because we collect the methane and the CO2 from their waste in our process, and we transfer that to the CO2 friendly products, the chemicals, the fossil free fertilizer, but most of all the fossil free fuel, which is the main product. And biogas as a fuel. When we started our planning in Norway in 2014, they were only producing compressed biogas fuel in Norway. In Norway, we don't have a central gas grid, so delivering to a grid is not an option. But the plants in Norway back then was municipality owned, and they were producing compressed gas. The thing about compressed gas as a fuel is it takes a lot of room. So you're not able to have a lot of energy in the vehicle's storage tank. So because of that, you can't transport the fuel very long distance, and you can't use it for long distance rides. So then you end up with only a local range around each biogas plant. Because of this, we decided to start producing liquefied fuel. The liquefied fuel is much more concentrated. So you are able to transport it long distance from the plant to the end user. And inside the vehicle, it's possible to drive long distance. The truck on the picture on the right bottom side, that's an Iveco truck driving with biogas as its fuel. And they have tested this truck. It went from London to Madrid without refilling. So in practical sense, the range of a vehicle could be 1,500 to 1,700 kilometers, which makes this a fuel that can compete with all other fuels existing. Because of this, this is also the alternative for the marine shipping industry as a fuel. When they are looking for replacement of their fossil-based fuels, there are not many options available. The only problem with liquefied biogas as fuel in the marine industry is that we don't have enough of it. So we are currently discussing expansions with a lot of shipping companies because they are really eager to secure all our production from new plants to their marine vessels. The market for biogas, liquefied biogas fuel is growing rapidly. The salespeople in our organizations, they do a good job and they don't have an easy job because it's easy to sell biogas, but we are looking for the best paying customers. So that's kind of the challenge. But the demand is growing both on road, but also the marine industry is now coming full speed. One of the driving forces in valuation of biogas used as fuel is that we are able to certify the fuel. When we entered the first sales contract, the sales contract said that we are selling liquefied biogas fuel. We gave some information about the feedstock, but that was that. And the payment was a bit more than the value of fossil fuel, but not very much. What we face today is that we have a two-component pricing system. The biogas has a value compared with on other energy sources. So if the value of the fuel for instance, diesel is, let's say, €1 per liter, then we are able to sell the biogas for about €1 per liter when you price only the energy component. What comes in addition is that we now also have a pricing of the CO2 component. The reduction of CO2 by using our fuel is priced separately. And the only way to do so is to certify this. So we have now certified all our plants, and the two main certification systems used in Europe is RedCert and ISSC. Currently, we are certified according to ISSC, but RedCert or ISSC goes hand in hand. So when we deliver the biogas to our end customers in, for instance, Germany, they pay us one price component for the energy, but they also pay us one other price component for the CO2 reduction. So we sell the fuel with a certificate which states how many CO2 equivalents is per megawatt of energy. And the best payment you get with the highest negative number. So if we can sell the fuel with minus, for instance, 20 grams CO2 per megawatt, that is better paid if we sell the fuel with zero CO2 equivalents per megawatt with the fuel. So we are encouraged to do whatever possible to reduce the CO2 emissions in our production. That comes with how we source their feedstock. If that is transported from the supplier of feedstock to our plant in a fossil-friendly way, that reduces the CO2 value of our fuel. So in all aspects, we are encouraged to do whatever to reduce the fossil emissions from our production. Being a listed company, it's always about growth. It's about profitability for sure, but also about growth. And we have to, since we are a listed company, we can only tell you what already is informed to the market. And the projects that are that is communicated and to the market and that is currently under development will end up with a production of at least 600 gigawatt hours by the end of 2024 and about 1.2 gigawatt hours by the end of 2026. On the screen now you can see the different project that is communicated and under development. But we have other project that is not communicated about yet. So the long-term target is that we, by 2030, will produce 3 terawatt hours of biogas. This is kind of my last picture, and see the kind of the spelling. It's beauty fuel. We are mainly focusing on the fuel part of the business. Even we are also producing and focusing on the CO2 and the fertilizer products. The challenge now is to find the best locations with access to feedstock and to set up with good expertise the best way to produce and deliver the fuel to the market. And because of this, we are also eager to expand our business outside of Scandinavia. On the previous slide, you saw that we already are looking into a couple of projects in Germany. In the beginning of this week, I was in the Baltics looking at some projects there, and we have also been in discussions with projects in Poland. And the Iberian Peninsula is also on kind of our watch list. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to participate in person in the conference, to meet people, to see if there are some possibilities where we can bring our expertise and we can produce more CO2-friendly fuel, because that is what Europe and the world needs. So thank you. That's all for me.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Good. There was a big round of applause for you. It's quite likely there could be some questions. I'm just going to check with our participants to see if anyone has any questions. Terje, does anyone have any questions at all? Yeah, just 1 second, Terje. We're in a big kind of conference room. It takes me a few seconds to get up.
Good morning, Piotr Kaczmarek. I have a question concerning the payment. You said that you sell your products and you have 2 price components. So one component is the, let's say, equivalent to the fuel, is for the energy itself, and the second component is for this green value, for the certificate. Can you say a little bit more how much it is? Not in the absolute values, but let's say in percentage. So if the value for the energy is 1, let's say, how much is the value for the certificate? Thank you.
It's a good question, and this is still early days. The price of the energy does not vary too much. That is quite stable. We have in our sales agreement different ways of indexating the energy component, but that does not vary much. The price component for the greenhouse savings, that varies much more. Currently, Germany is the best paying market for the CO2 component. And last year, the payment was very good. It was quite a bit more than the energy component. But then we had this winter we had kind of a big flow of biodiesel that was sold into the German market because of this good valuation, and they also kind of brought this green element. So the pricing of the CO2 component dropped quite much during a couple of months, but that's stabilized, and now we see that it's growing again. So my last information is that the CO component was a bit less than the energy component, but last year it was a bit more than the energy component, but that is fluctuating much more. In the Norwegian and Swedish market, we yet don't see the same price models. They only pay for kind of green biogas and don't have this two-price system. But we think that the whole reason for the customers to buy green renewable fuel is to lower their greenhouse emissions. And our customers is the transportation companies, or sometimes our customers is the distributor, but they have the transportation companies as customers. But the customers of the transportation companies, which may be the supermarket chains or whatever, they will require to see those lowered CO2 emissions documented. So that is why we think that you can't have this premium price of biogas fuel unless you can have a unless you can deliver a certificate that shows how much CO2 components this represents.
Thank you very much. I think that answered the question. I'll just check if there are any more questions. Any more questions? It would appear not. I must say I was struck with that last slide, beauty fuel. For a moment I thought, oh, there's a spelling mistake, but then quickly saw the error of my thinking, so that will always stay with me. Thank you very much appreciated, very informative. Thank you for taking the time out as well, we appreciate it, and yeah, we wish you all the best for the future. Thank you very much, Terje.
Thank you. Okay, have a good day.
Thank you, bye-bye.